and you will be asked to decide whether you want to stay or go, but that's entirely up to you. So that is me, Sue Thomas, from Sue Thomas Wellbeing. And tonight I'm going to share with you the 3 secrets to easy weight management, better sleep, balanced hormones, more energy, less brain fog, you name it. I could talk to you for hours about what I'm going to do, what I'm going to talk to you over the next 45 minutes or so. These 3 secrets are something that the diet industry will never share with you, because they don't want you to break the cycle of coming back to redo their program time and time again. So the first secret is to balance your blood sugars. So when we have unbalanced blood sugars, that pushes up a hormone called insulin, which is our blood sugar hormone. And it pushes up our blood sugar hormone, insulin. And insulin is a very dominant hormone. And it will allow for the hormone ghrelin, which is a hormone that tells us we are hungry, to be released. And it suppresses the hormone leptin, which is the hormone that tells us we're full. So when we have high blood sugars, when we have blood sugars that are on a roller coaster, so they are peaking and troughing throughout the course of the day, we will constantly have high ghrelin and we will constantly have low leptin, which means we are permanently hungry and we never feel full. And that is one of the things that we find whenever you go on any kind of diet program. One of the biggest fears amongst women is this place of restriction, this feeling like they're always restricted and that they can't eat anything and they're always in a place of hunger. How many of you have been on a diet for most of your adult life in some form or another and absolutely dreaded it because you are you know that you're going to be in a place of restriction, you're going to be in a place of hunger permanently, and it's going to feel miserable. And it doesn't have to be like that. It's actually really simple to get your blood sugars balanced, to feel full all the time, to feel nourished all the time, and to live a highly energetic life every single day. And there is a number of things that you need to do every day to make sure you are balancing your blood sugars. So when we eat carbohydrate of any type, it has to go through a metabolic process to access that carbohydrate, to use that glucose for fuel. So when we talk about carbohydrates, we're talking vegetables and fruit, so green leafy vegetables all the way through orange, red, all the way through to beige and white. So beige carbohydrates you all know as pasta and bread, and white carbohydrates you will know or you will think of as refined sugar. The further down that spectrum that they go, the beige and the whites, these carbohydrates need to be metabolized by the body in the same way as the greens and the reds and the oranges do. But the metabolic process that both of those 2 types of carbohydrate go through releases something called free radicals. And free radicals will cause damage to the body. They'll cause damage to healthy tissue, and they'll cause inflammation. They'll set up inflammation in the body. Now, when we consume the reds, the greens and oranges, they contain something called antioxidants that will mop up those free radicals and get rid of them out of the system so they can't do any damage. If we're eating lots of beiges and white carbohydrates, those free radicals, they don't contain antioxidants, so those antioxidants won't mop up the free radicals and get rid of them out of the system. So these free radicals will damage healthy tissue, which basically speeds up the aging process. So when someone is consuming a diet high in beige carbohydrates and lots of sugars, they will age much quicker than someone who is consuming a diet full of the reds and the greens and the oranges. But more importantly, they won't have, the greens and the reds and the oranges group won't have inflammation going on in their body, because those antioxidants have done the job they needed to do to get rid of the free radicals out of the system. If we are consuming foods, beige foods, white foods, and that's causing inflammation, that's a stress on the body. And that stress on the body causes the release of a hormone called cortisol. And when you have cortisol high in the system and insulin high in the system, the blood sugar hormone, those 2 together are like the ugly sisters of hormones. And they will basically pick up all the excess glucose in your bloodstream, take it to your liver to be processed and turned into triglycerides, and then they will fix it as fat. And you'll never burn that fat for fuel. when cortisol is high in the system and when insulin is high in the system. So in order to be able to access that fat for fuel, in order to be able to manage our weight more effectively, one of the things we've got to do is bring down that cortisol level and bring down that insulin level. And the way to do this is, yes, to eat more greens and reds and oranges. Of course it is, because that's what I've just talked about, the antioxidants, but is to get your blood sugars balanced right from the beginning of the day. And the first thing to eat then at the beginning of the day is protein. Because when we wake up in the morning, our stomach is full of hydrochloric acid. And hydrochloric acid breaks down carbohydrates very quickly. It doesn't break protein down anywhere near as quickly. So when you consume carbohydrate first thing in the morning, so cereals or toast, you'll very quickly have a release of sugars into your bloodstream, beige carbohydrates that don't have any antioxidants. And as a result, those beige carbohydrates will release sugars into your bloodstream really quickly. You'll have a spike of blood sugars. Insulin will be released. We'll pick up all those sugars and take them out of the bloodstream, either for energy production, but if we're sitting at our desk, we won't be using it for energy. So the insulin will take those sugars to the liver to be converted to triglycerides. But equally as quickly, the insulin will crash, and by 10:30, we will be hungry. If we eat protein first thing for breakfast, protein is a much slower release of sugars into the bloodstream. It doesn't have the same relationship with insulin as carbohydrate does. And so consequently, our insulin levels will stay much more balanced through the course of the day. So for those of you that have been on the sugar-free challenge this week and have started to play around with what you're eating and how it's making you feel, the foods that will balance your blood sugars should keep you full for 4 to 5 hours. If you are hungry within 2 hours of eating, whatever you ate has spiked your blood sugars and then they've crashed again. And then you are hungry, and your body and your brain is saying, because your brain operates on glucose, it's saying, I need you to consume something carbohydrate based for my fuel, basically. Now, if you eat protein first, it releases the sugars into your bloodstream much more slowly. And so consequently, you get a really nice balanced insulin level throughout the course of the morning. You don't get the peak and trough. You don't get the hunger at 10:30. So actually, you find yourself naturally eating less if you've got your blood sugars balanced. On the weight management programs where they tell you to eat some kind of carbohydrate for breakfast, they want you to consume the snack bar mid-morning because you're hungry. So even though you don't go over the amount of calories you should be consuming, your blood sugars are going up and down throughout the course of the day. And if our insulin levels are high, our ghrelin is going to be high, we're going to be hungry, and it's going to be miserable. But equally as much with insulin high and that inflammation going on in this system, because we've been eating quite a lot of beige carbohydrate, we're going to have this stress, we're going to have high cortisol levels, and consequently the insulin and cortisol together are going to fix the fat and not allow you to burn them for fuel. Those of you that went on the sugar-free challenge this week and noticed some weight loss that you hadn't managed to achieve before, it is because you started to balance your blood sugars and bring insulin down so that the leptin could be released and you could burn fat for fuel. So if you eat protein at breakfast time and you start the day with consistent blood sugars, that can have a knock-on effect throughout the rest of the day. You can make better choices at lunchtime. And if you focus on eating lots of colors and lots of protein on your plate, that will have a consequence for the afternoon. You'll keep your blood sugars balanced through the afternoon, and you will feel much better as the day goes on. You'll have far more energy. You won't feel starving all the time. You won't feel in a place of restriction. And that place of restriction can just mess with our heads and make us feel really miserable. And then the chimp on our shoulder goes, oh, go on, just have that bar of chocolate. It's fine. It won't matter. It won't do any harm. And then you're back in the cycle of blood sugar imbalance again. Any weight management should involve nourishing foods that make us feel really good, that make us feel really positive, that feed really important messages to our brain going, yes, I feel really good. I've made some great choices. I can stay focused on this. One of the reasons why we struggle with weight management, because it's always a place of restriction and always a place of lack and always a place of misery, we think, oh God, this is so hard and I can't do it. But actually, if you could nourish your body and make yourself feel really good and focus on the nutrients you're consuming rather than the calories, you will inevitably eat less. And so you will end up losing weight. And if you get your hormone balance right as well, you're going to be able to access the fat for fuel. So become a food detective, become someone who understands how food makes them feel. Does it make me feel full for 4 hours, or was I hungry within 2 hours? Because if I was hungry within 2 hours, what I ate at that mealtime didn't work for me from a blood sugar balance perspective. And obviously, it goes without saying, if you want to balance your blood sugars, the best way to do that is to start to think about avoiding refined sugars. But actually, if your blood sugars are balanced, and some of you have discovered this week as well, because with your blood sugars balanced, you've been able to go, I don't actually need to eat that biscuit. I'm not snacking like I used to because I'm not hungry. I'm not having that feeling of needing to eat something. So when you avoid refined sugars and your blood sugars balance, the choices you make are much more informed and have come from a place of supporting your body rather than feeling like you're in a place of restriction and you're miserable and actually all you're doing is pacing around the kitchen trying to find something that doesn't take you over your calorie amount for the day. In order to lose weight, yes, we do need to have a deficit in calories, but actually that deficit needs to be in relation to how our hormones are balanced. And it's not just our estrogen and progesterone that when we're talking about hormones, we're talking about insulin and we're talking about cortisol, all these hormones, adrenaline, all these hormones that have an impact, particularly when we get past 40, they have an impact on how well we function throughout the course of the day and how effective we are at balancing, at managing to burn fat for fuel. Basically, when we have the right blood sugar balance, we can access our fat reserves for fuel and we don't end up putting on weight, and we can burn that fat and start to lose weight really quite effectively without it feeling uncomfortable and just from a place, as I said, from a place of restriction. So what I would love for you to do when you go away from this webinar is to think about counting the nutrients and not the calories. As a nation, we've been taught for so many years as women, the slimming clubs, all they want us to do is count the calories. But you could have a bowl of Special K for breakfast. You could have a go-ahead bar at breakfast, lunch break time. You could have some kind of low-calorie sandwich and low-calorie packet of crisps, and then another go-ahead bar, and then some kind of a Slimming Club's meal, club meal for your evening meal. But there's no nutrients in there at all. Yes, you would be below your calorie consumption, but the nutrients are what helps to get you healthy. They're what help to fill you up. They're what help to balance your blood sugars. So really be thinking about how many colors have I got on my plate? How many more colors can I fit on the plate? The more colors you've got on the plate, the more the more your body will be nourished, and the less you will want to snack and the less you will need to eat, because your blood sugars will be balanced and you'll be making better choices throughout the course of the day. The two things are intrinsically linked. When you have balanced blood sugars, you make better choices. But equally as much, when you make better choices, you are filling your plate with all those colors, and therefore you're not eating anywhere near as many calories. So if you can really focus on thinking protein first, protein and lots of colors at meal times, and thinking, how did food make me feel? How do I feel as a result of eating this food? Did it work for my body? That's the first place you need to start when you are looking for effective weight management. Okay, I'm just going to check the chat, and then I will. Now's a good time to answer these questions, actually. So, okay, so I have a job on my feet from 7 a.m., have breakfast at 9 a.m. and are hungry at 12 noon. Are you eating enough at breakfast time, Mary? It may be that you need to think about eating a little bit more protein to keep you full. You should be able to go through, when your blood sugars are balanced, you shouldn't necessarily need to eat much before 9 o'clock. I personally, my blood sugars are really well balanced, and I personally don't eat my breakfast till about 10 o'clock. I can function really effectively up until about 10 o'clock. And then I don't then have anything else to eat, usually till about 2:30 in the afternoon. So I know that my breakfast will keep me full for a good amount of time. I'm maybe not as on my feet as much as you are, but it's about really getting to grips with how much am I eating at breakfast time, and how is it making me feel? Yes, so when I talk about colours, yes, it does include fruit, but with fruit, you need to be thinking about eating some protein with it. So you might want to think about eating some nuts with some fruit if you're having fruit, but the thing is, you don't actually need to snack. So you wouldn't need to eat fruit as a snack, because if you get your blood sugars balanced, you don't need to snack. So if you're having fruit after a meal, for example, and you've had a good colourful plate with lots of protein, then that fruit can just be eaten. You don't need to eat it with protein. But if you're eating fruit on its own, always be thinking about having some protein with it in order to slow the release of blood sugars down. When you say count your inches, how do you do that? Not sure. No, you're not being thick, Ruth. So what I'm trying to say is, don't stress about counting calories. If you just focus on as many colours on your plate as you can find, as you can get on that plate, you're going to be nourishing your body. It's going to be full of nutrients. So rather than obsessing about how many calories are in that meal, obsess about the colours. And when you've got loads of colours in there, it's really hard to overeat. It's hard to overeat on your calories. So if you think about a plate of a salad, for example, with some chicken as a good quality protein, and let's say there were 300 calories on that plate with that chicken, that would keep you full for a good 4 to 5 hours. But if you had 300 calories from, I don't know, a couple of sausages and half a potato, I don't really know what the Slimming Club's kind of programs are like these days, or some pasta, for example, you will find probably that you'll be hungry 2 hours after eating that. So if you just focus on how many colors can I get on my plate, how many nutrients can I get on there, you can't count them essentially, but you can think lots of colors, lots of nutrition, and not worrying about the calories, because I won't overeat if I've got lots and lots of colors on my plate. Yeah, emotional eating, reward loop. Yes, that is a cycle that you would need to break in terms of going, actually, do I need to eat this? But I would also say, when you understand how to balance your blood sugars and you know how sugars make you feel, you can ask yourself that question: is the pleasure of eating this now because I'm emotionally eating worth the pain that I know it's going to make me feel tomorrow, kind of thing? And that's a cycle that you need to then to work on breaking. But I think when you've got that mind mastery over this choice of eating this chocolate bar, I know it's going to make me feel so rubbish in 2 hours time or 4 hours time. Do I want the pleasure of that chocolate bar now compared to the pain that it's going to make me feel, and the mindset that I'm going to get into if I eat that? Okay, I'm going to answer the fasting question at the end, because otherwise I'm never going to get through this. I'm never going to get through this webinar. Okay, but I will come back to the fasting question. Okay, Sarah, because I don't have a problem with fasting at all. So balancing your blood sugars is secret number 1. The second secret you need to know about is improving the quality of your sleep. And this is like the biggest secret of them all. So those of you who've gone through the sugar-free challenge will understand now how to balance your insulin levels. If you haven't gone through that sugar-free challenge, don't panic, because I will help you understand that in a little bit more detail if you decide to go on to the next stage. But improving your sleep is something that, when you understand it, blows your mind completely. So we should be having 7 hours sleep a night as a minimum. We probably now have about 6 hours sleep on average, but for most of us, particularly if we're struggling with our hormones, we will find that we're waking between 1 and 3. Okay, our liver is predominantly working overtime between the hours of 1 and 3. So when we go into a deep quality sleep, our liver will detoxify. A lot happens when we go into a deep quality sleep. So the first thing that happens is that our brain cleans, and we get rid of all the waste material in our brain, and then all of our muscles and our ligaments get cleaned, and so does our cardiovascular system. That is when we go into a deep quality sleep. The best time for that cleaning to take place is between the hours of 10 and midnight, and you should go into a deep quality sleep then. And then you might come into a lighter phase of sleep from about 12 o'clock onwards for about an hour or so, maybe not even as long as that, 30 minutes. And then you'll drop into another deep quality sleep. In that second deep quality sleep is when the liver is doing all the cleaning and getting rid of everything out of the system. But if the liver is struggling, which it always is in 21st century life, because we're exposed to so many toxins on a daily basis. But if you add on top of that hormone balance changing, the liver is going to be working overtime. All your raw materials for your hormones are created in your liver. And so the liver has got, it does basically about 500 different jobs in the body. And if your liver is struggling to detoxify, it will bring you into a lighter phase of sleep. And that is why so many women struggle with sleep quality when they start to get into perimenopause, menopause state, because their liver is struggling, and it brings them into a lighter phase of sleep, and then they struggle to get back into a quality sleep. Now, when we don't sleep properly, we don't get that brain cleaning going through the brain. We don't get that cardiovascular system cleaning. And this can lead to mental well-being issues. It can lead to cardiovascular issues, particularly for women. As their estrogen levels drop, estrogen is a hormone that helps to keep everything flexible and helps to keep the heart working properly. And if we're not sleeping properly, it can compromise our cardiovascular health. But equally as much, sleep is really important for fat burning. When you get a deep quality sleep, your body becomes much more of a fat burning machine, but it has an impact on your insulin balance. If you get a good 7 hours sleep, your insulin will be nicely balanced, and it will be easy to balance it the following day. If you have a rubbish night's sleep, there's lots of research out there to show that you are likely to eat up to 500 extra calories a day when you've had anything less than 5 hours sleep a night. So if you are waking between 1 and 3, that is a symptom that your liver is struggling, but equally as much, it will be having an impact on your waistline the following day. It will also have an impact on your mental clarity because you haven't had that brain cleaning process. And it will also have an impact on your energy levels because your cardiovascular system becomes slightly stiffer. When we don't sleep as well, it compromises our immunity by up to 70%. Our immune system, the T cells and the B cells that make up the kind of killer cells of our immune system, become less effective by up to 70%. So our immune system is compromised as well. There was a study done of 2 groups of women who were given exactly the same calorific content, two study groups. They were given the same calories in their diet. One group had only 4 hours sleep. The other group was allowed to have 8 hours sleep. So they had the same calorific content. The group that had 8 hours sleep lost up to 50% more weight than the group that only had the 4 hours sleep. And the group that had 4 hours sleep had much more unbalanced blood glucose levels than the group that were getting 8 hours sleep. So our sleep is essential if we want to be able to manage our weight more effectively. But how do you get better sleep? This is what this webinar is about. Easier weight management, better sleep and balanced hormones. And also, when you are getting better sleep, because your liver can do the job of cleaning properly, it can then concentrate on balancing estrogen and progesterone more effectively as well. And you don't wake the following day in a state of stress where cortisol levels are then pushed back up again. And cortisol then obviously is that hormone that stops us from burning fat for fuel, but cortisol is also a dominant hormone, and it will steal raw materials from estrogen and progesterone. So if you are perimenopausal and your cortisol levels are high, you're going to be on the back foot as far as producing enough estrogen and progesterone is concerned, which is then going to have a consequence to any menopause symptoms that you might be struggling with. So how can you get better sleep? Well, the first place to start, I would always say, is to improve your liver function. The liver is a green organ in Chinese medicine. So by feeding the liver lots of green foods, all those nutrients that I was talking about before, you can really begin to support your liver's detoxification capacity. The antioxidants that come with all those greens and reds and oranges that I spoke about at the beginning, they are a vital part of the 2-stage liver detoxification process. So improving your liver function is going to improve your sleep. consuming those nutrients on your plate is going to have an impact on how well your liver functions. Get into a regular sleep routine. Try not to be too erratic in terms of your bedtime. Always say, right, it's 9:30, I'm turning the lights down, I might be going for a bath, I'm going to just start to wind myself down before I get into bed for about 10 o'clock, read for 15 minutes, and then switch the lights out. An ideal bedtime is 10 o'clock with a sort of sleep window to get into sleep by about 10:30. If you are not if you're not going to sleep efficiently, when you get into bed, it's taking you ages to go to sleep, that's caused by a number of things. One is that you've been looking at your phone, and the blue light that you get from your phone impacts the back of your eyes, tells you it's daytime, and then we release more cortisol. Unfortunately, cortisol is a really important hormone, but in the right balance. And if we're releasing it at night, it again is causing inflammation in the system and then causing our blood sugars to unbalance. So scrolling through your phone before you go to bed at night can have a real impact on the quality of your sleep. So if you're not going to sleep, when you get into bed, if you're not sleeping within about 30 minutes, it can be because you've been exposed to blue light, but equally as much, it can be a magnesium deficiency as well. And that's something in my Fed Up to Fabulous program that we explore. We have a whole module on sleep. Apologies, I'm just letting someone in. Someone's just arrived. I'm just letting them in. So we have a whole module on sleep in Fed Up to Fabulous program, and we look at things like magnesium deficiency, changing our routine around using our phone, all the other things that we can be doing to help ourselves improve the quality of our sleep. And when we get good quality sleep, my goodness, does it have an impact on how we feel the following day? It improves our mental clarity, it improves our energy levels, and funnily enough, it improves our choices around food as well when our blood sugars are balanced because we've had a good night's sleep. Another thing that we often find ourselves doing is not eating, or eating too late into the evening, and that can push our insulin levels up. Usually it does push your insulin levels up. What am I talking about? It will push your insulin levels up because you've eaten, but it will push your insulin levels up to mean that they are still high when you go to bed. And when insulin is high in your system, again, because it's a dominant hormone, it prevents us from producing growth hormone, which is the hormone that helps us to go into a deep quality sleep. It also prevents us from producing melatonin, which is the kind of hormone that creates it's a neurotransmitter that helps to create this soporific feeling of, right, I'm beginning to get ready for bed. So if we're eating after 7 o'clock in the evening, when we go to bed, our insulin levels are still too high and we don't release sufficient growth hormone to send us into that first stage of deep quality sleep. So in order to allow for insulin levels to come down before we go to bed, eating before 7 o'clock is a really important thing to do. If you are struggling with your sleep, if you're struggling to go off to sleep, that little change can make a huge amount of difference to how well you go to sleep at night. And of course, balancing your blood sugars, it goes without saying, if insulin is high, that has an impact on our ability to go into that deep quality sleep. So if you have a watch that you monitor your sleep and it only says you're only ever having kind of light phase of sleep, there's a good chance that your blood sugars are too high, that your insulin level in your system is too high, and that is having an impact across the board. So improving your sleep is absolutely vital if you want to manage your weight more effectively, if you want to balance your hormones more effectively. And so many of us, it's endemic. Sleep deprivation is endemic in the Western world. And that impact that it has on our mental well-being, it also increases our risk of degenerative illnesses as well. It has an impact on our immune system. Poor sleep has an impact on our hormone balance, and it has an impact on our cardiovascular function. There are so many things around sleep. And when you get to grips with sleep, and as I say, we explore it a lot more in Fed Up to Fabulous, because one of the modules focuses on improving the quality of our sleep, because it has this impact right across the board. There are 5 pillars to health: hydration, nutrition, mindset, and what you believe. movement, but sleep is the fifth one. And getting sleep spot on will increase your longevity by up to 15 years. So within Fed Up to Fabulous, we will focus on sleep as a whole module and setting goals around how we can improve the quality of our sleep and recognizing just how important it is to help improve our long-term well-being. I am so protective of my sleep. No one or nothing gets in the way of my sleep. Okay, so I'm just going to just touch back on some questions. Okay, where are we? Okay, with liver detoxing, does this happen when in good quality sleep, no matter when you sleep? So if you work permanently on nights and slept in the day, it will still happen. To some extent, yes, our circadian rhythms want us to be asleep at night and awake during the day, okay? And so your liver is naturally wanting to sleep, to detoxify through the night. If you are sleeping during the day, then, and there is a lot of research now into shift workers, night workers, and how the sleep, their lack of sleep or their lack of quality sleep is impacting their long-term well-being. And it is being shown that working shifts like that, nights like that, is impacting people's well-being. So it doesn't detoxify effectively in the same way as it would do if you were sleeping and getting good quality sleep at night. So if you are struggling with anything that is hormone related or weight management related, often that will be linked to the fact that you're not getting the detoxification sleep that you should be getting between kind of 1 and 3 in the morning, which is the natural circadian rhythm. Hope that makes sense, Kate. I love the sleep cycle app. Yeah, I love sleep too. I love tracking my sleep on my Fitbit. I've been drinking water and find I'm getting up to use the loo in the middle of the night. So yes, it will calm down, but it's actually, if you're hydrated when you go to bed at night because you're drinking more water, it's actually easier to get back to sleep when you get up to go to the loo than if you're dehydrated. So your body will start to get used to having more, having more of a full bladder and not necessarily waking you up. You do get used to that, but when you are hydrated, going back to sleep is so much easier than if you are dehydrated. So it is worth still keeping up your water consumption, but maybe thinking to wind it down a little bit by 8 o'clock, something like that. Or you get into a little pattern of when you last go to the loo before you go to sleep, just taking a drink. You mentioned magnesium. What are your thoughts around it? I absolutely believe we should be supplementing. The Western world, 21st century life, means we are so deficient in so many vitamins and minerals, and this is one of the reasons why so many women are struggling with menopause and weight gain and stuff, because their bodies are out of balance. So when I talk about supplementation, it's a more targeted supplementation around the individual and what she needs. So every woman should be supplementing with vitamin D for sure, and every woman should be supplementing with omega-3 fats. And then there are some other things that we might pick and choose as well. And magnesium is one that I would go back into a burning building to save, just because it's so important to calm the body down. It's got a role to play in about 200 different functions magnesium has. So supplementation, do not be frightened of it, but it needs to be good quality supplementation. Do not just go to Tesco's and buy the $1.99 magnesium, because that won't be giving your body any benefit whatsoever. It has to be from food grade source. There's a lot of cheap supplements out there are artificial, synthetic, and your body can't recognize them basically. So, but that's another conversation we can have further down the line, Belinda. So the second secret is to improve the quality of your sleep. And then the third, I've just realized the time, I've been going on for hours, so I apologize that I'm keeping you, because as I said, I could talk about this for hours. The second secret is to be accountable. Those of you that won the Sugar-Free Challenge this week recognized how much easier it was to achieve your goals and what you set out to achieve, how much easier it was when you were accountable to a group. We are 95% more likely to achieve success when we are held accountable, when we are working with a group of people who want to support us, want to get the best for us, and are doing exactly the same as we are. So be accountable, seek the support of someone or a group of people who have the same focus as you do, and develop the right mindset for success. When we tell ourselves it's going to be hard, which the Slimming Clubs want you to believe that it is hard because they want you to keep coming back for more. When we tell ourselves it's going to be hard, of course it's going to be hard. When we tell ourselves that we're nourishing our body, that we're choosing whether we eat that or not, when we tell ourselves that we are in control, that is when we achieve success, when we have that mindset for success. So when you want to achieve anything, when you want to focus on improving your sleep and improving your weight management and balancing your hormones, when you're accountable to making choices to a group of people and you're making the right choices, you are so much more likely to be successful. For my Fed Up to Fabulous program, it launches on the 31st of January. I only have 3 intakes for Fed Up to Fabulous a year. It's 3 21-day modules. So I break it down into 21-day chunks. The first chunk, you do the first chunk and then you have a rest week. So it doesn't feel like it's overwhelming. And within each 21-day module, you are allowed 2 balanced meals. So you can have the sugar or you can have the alcohol or you could do whatever you want within your balanced meals. It's your call. And you have 2 within each 21-day module. So it doesn't feel like it's arduous, but it never does anyway, because you're encouraged to eat all the foods that nourish your body and keep your blood sugars really well balanced. You get a self-care handbook with goal setting for every day and focusing on self-care and rewarding yourself once you've achieved something. I'm a big believer in rewarding ourselves rather than making ourselves feel really guilty if we haven't achieved it. A hard copy of a gratitude diary and a food journal, which I love. These are great ways of changing your mindset and believing that you are successful. We do a wellbeing assessment at the start and the end to track your progress. And we have a really super active Facebook group. I come in live to the group twice a week, a weekly Q&A session on a Monday evening, and then an educational video on a Thursday morning. All can be watched on catch up. You don't need to be in the group live to watch that. And then there are recipe cards, meal plans. Each new module has a new set of recipes to go with it. And then we're sharing recipes throughout the course of the week. And this Fed Up to Fabulous program gets great results. You can see here, pretty busy, 10 cups of coffee a day, now only hot water, gone from permanently tired by 10:30, waking up naturally and refreshed, skin softer, smoother, 1 stone down, 4 inches from my tummy. These are people that have done the program before. The next group starts on the 31st of January. The first focus is blood sugar balance. It would be wrong of me not to provide you with the next step in your blood sugar balancing process once you finish this 7-day sugar-free challenge. The next step is to go on to Fed Up to Fabulous to really embed those changes that you've made around balancing your blood sugars. Then we have module 2, where we focus on sleep and taking all the actions to improve the quality of your sleep and help you to get to that point where you're waking up refreshed and energized and ready for the day. And then the third module is on hormone balancing. So if you're struggling with menopause symptoms, often by the time you get to the hormone balancing module, a lot of those menopause symptoms have gone. But we take the actions in order to really embed those changes. It is a lifestyle change. This is not a diet. This is a lifestyle. This helps you to become the person that you want to become. I think it was Belinda that said she wants to become that person that can say, no, sorry, I don't eat sugar. That is the person. If you want to become that person, you absolutely can be. I say to people, I am 90% sugar-free. I don't eat sugar for 90% of the time. That's not to say that I don't allow myself to relax every now and again, but for 90% of the time, I know how sugar makes me feel, and I don't want to feel like that. I want to feel energized. I want to feel comfortable in my clothes. I want to sleep well every night, and I want to have balanced hormones. I don't want to struggle with menopause symptoms. And I know that sugar is going to be the demon that takes me down that road, and I'm not going there. So I make it super easy to follow. I have a busy life. I have 3 children. I have a business to run. I need any program that I run needs to fit into my life as well. I'm not going to encourage you to do something that I wouldn't be prepared to do. And I've created Fed Up to Fabulous to absolutely fit around your life every day. And because there's so much interaction in the group, if there's anything that you struggle with, you just ask that question and I give you a solution, or we get on the phone and we talk about it. I believe in education. I believe in giving you the tools to understand the reason why you're doing something. It's so much easier when you understand the reason. If you've got that in your brain and you know that reason, you can make the right choices. But most importantly, it's great for accountability and support and to achieve your success. If you've had success with the sugar-free challenge, you can take the next step with the Fed Up to Fabulous program. I keep this program limited to each intake, but once you're in the group, you get lifetime access. So you can keep doing the program as many times as you want to get to your goals. Or if you think, oh, I could do modules 1 and 2 at the minute, but I've got a holiday when module 3 would be on, then you can just come back and do module 3 again, or you can start the whole program again when you come back from your holiday. The program keeps running, so we will start again in April with the next Fed Up to Fabulous program, designed around key holidays and school times and all that kind of thing as well, because I know what it's like. And it's designed to always be there for the accountability and the support and for your long-term success, for your long-term well-being. How would it be if you became that person that you want to be? How would it feel when you get up every morning and open the wardrobe knowing full well that you could wear anything in your wardrobe and feel super confident in it? Sometimes creating the change that we want in our life, we have to look at doing things a little bit differently. And this program is like no other program out there. It's the program that's going to help you achieve the long-term well-being that maybe you have sought for some time. It's £199 a month for 3 months. So you sign up for £399 payments, but that is it. Once you've made that payment, you're in the group and you can stay there long term, and you can repeat the program as many times as you want to. So you can see here another testimonial I found. I had loads more energy. After 21 days, I tried on clothes I'd not worn for years, and they fitted beautifully. So 3 21-day modules, each followed by a rest week. So you don't feel like it's overwhelming. When you stand at the end of it, at the beginning of it, and you go, oh my goodness, this is a long program. It's not, it's broken down into 3, only ever focus on the 3 21-day modules. 2 balanced meals, 5 daily goals to help keep you on track, little tick sheet that you use every day. You can stick it on the fridge and make sure you've ticked off your goals each day. Very easy to achieve along the lines of the sugar-free challenge. With those educational live feeds, Q&A sessions, lots of support every single day to help you achieve the goals that you want to achieve long term. Now, this is me in my technical mind. I'm hoping this works.
Hi Sue, I don't know if you can hear me, it's Sally, but we can't hear the film.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, I was hoping that might work. It might be because I can hear it, but you can't. Okay. What I will do is I will share that into the Facebook group. Thank you, Sally, for saying that. I'll share it. Can you see it though, but you can't hear it? Never mind, not to worry. I will keep going. I thought I was being super technical and making that work. Never mind. So my last question to you, is it time to invest in you? Is it time to put your own mask on first? You can't function for other people if you're not functioning effectively for yourself. If you've been going round and round on a hamster wheel and you've not managed to make any changes, sometimes it might be that we have to say, right, I need to do things differently. So Fed Up to Fabulous, the registration is open now for Fed Up to Fabulous. You will get an email about it, but there is also a link in the Facebook group if you want to have a look at it in a little bit more detail. The first 3 people to register will receive a 30-minute goal setting call with me as well to help you keep you on track, but everybody will get a midterm check-in call just to make sure everything is going okay. So there is lots of support to help you achieve the goals that you are looking for as far as your long-term well-being is concerned. So disappointed that video didn't work, but never mind. I thought I'd sorted it out. I don't think I set it up on Zoom properly. Okay, so I am going to stop my share now, and I'm going to just go through the questions. Okay, so you've all said I'm not getting any sound. You can see you're talking, but you can't hear the sound. Okay, that's everything. Has anyone got any questions before I tell you who the prize winners are from the sugar-free challenge? Stick them in the chat box if you do have any questions. If not, I'm just sticking in the chat box now a link to the Fed Up to Fabulous program. You can go through and have a look at that. So the person that won the free place or place on the Fed Up to Fabulous program starting on the 31st of January is Belinda Lima. Very technically by going through the post. I asked my husband and he said, give me a number from 1 to 43, which is how many comments there were, and he gave me a number, and your comment was the number that he gave me, Belinda. So you have won that place on the Fed Up to Fabulous. You can unmute yourself if you'd like to say anything. If not, if you're too shocked.
Sorry, I'm actually crying. So much. Oh, I really wanted to do it, but in New Zealand dollars, it's a bit tricky to manage. And this is just so amazing. I'm so grateful.
Oh,
thank you so much.
I'm so pleased that you've wonderful. That's fantastic, Belinda. You really will then put everything into it as well to make sure you get everything out of it as well. So really well done. Yeah,
I can't wait. Thank you so much.
Oh, I will be in touch, Belinda, with the details. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Perfect.
Thank you. Then I had 2 places on the Why Wait programme. So the second person that won on the Why Wait was Katie Twigg. Is she here? I don't know whether she is. I don't know. I haven't seen her name come up, but she may. Okay, so I will get in touch with Katie. And then the third person to win was Lindsay Egniston. And you've done Fed Up to Fabulous before, so you will. Do you want to unmute yourself, Lindsay? You could actually just do me a favour, because the video didn't work. You could just tell everybody what Fed Up to Fabulous is like, if you don't mind.
Well,
Kate's here as well. Great.
Thank you so much. That's lovely. I did Fed Up to Fabulous in September 2020, October 2020. It was lockdown. My kids had just gone to university, and it was time for me. I did the sugar-free challenge, and then joined up to Fed Up to Fabulous, and it's just brilliant. It was just, I lost 2 stone. I gained a whole load of confidence. The goals I set were to be faster on the fells. I love being out in the fells walking. And I wanted to wear my favourite jeans. I'm still wearing my favourite jeans, and I am faster on the fells. And I've signed up this year for this sugar-free challenge. My goal is a 3-day event on the fells. That wouldn't be possible if I hadn't got myself fitter and in a better mindset. And my special treat was, it was our silver wedding last year. I had photos taken in my wedding dress.
Of your 25th wedding anniversary, wasn't it? Lindsay and I are our wedding anniversary twins. We got married on the same day, and you had some beautiful photos taken, didn't you, with your wedding dress on? So,
and I couldn't have done that. So really, ladies, it works. It works.
It absolutely does.
Thank you, Sue. That's brilliant.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'll be in touch with. So Why Wait is a self-guided program. So you get a number of emails over the course of the 21 days, and you follow it yourself. So I'll be in touch with that. And Kate, you're here somewhere, are you? Are you here? Do you want to? I'll just I got. You're not. You're. There you go. Are you there?
There you go.
Yes. So Katie, you won the second place for the Why Wait programme. Again, I will send it to you. But I know you've got some big goals this year as well, haven't you? So Why Wait will really help to keep you on track.
Fabulous, thank you.
And I'll be in touch with it. It's very simple to follow, and you'll get it sent to you on email. So really well done, Katie. Well, lovely, brilliant.
Thank you, Sue.
Brilliant. So yeah, it was a great challenge. I really enjoyed running the challenge last week, and thank you everyone for being so engaged and working so well with each other as well. You were absolute superstars, so really well done. And for those of you that have already signed up to Fed Up Fabulous, thank you. I'm super grateful to you. It's going to be a great program, and for those of you that are going to sign up, I look forward to working with you. So so just leaving to say, there was one question: when is the next sugar-free challenge running? It's running on, starts on the 25th of April. So I only run one a quarter. And I have an intake of Fed Up to Fabulous once a quarter. And the next intake of Fed Up to Fabulous won't be until the beginning of May. So imagine how you could feel by Easter time by signing up now to the the Fed Up to Fabulous and putting yourself first for a change. So I just remains to say the group will close at the end of next week. So you've got a few more days to keep each other accountable, and then I will close it just before I open the Fed Up to Fabulous group. So you can still keep interacting in there if you would like to, Ruth. So just to say thank you so much for joining me this evening. Well done to the winners this evening. Thank you for being such a great group. I have really enjoyed working with you. Any questions, you can still stick them in the chat in the group. I will be still going in there every day to answer them. And just have a great rest of the evening, and I will speak to you all very soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.